All right, let's jump right into this explainer and open up the case file on one of the most fiercely guarded and ancient historical anomalies in the entire world. Today, we're focusing our investigation on the Jagannath Temple in Puri, India. Now, for centuries, this site has drawn millions of pilgrims. But hidden behind its massive stone walls and those grand chariot festivals, there is a secret so protected that it literally operates under the cover of absolute darkness. So, put on your historical researcher hats, because we are going to investigate a ritual that completely defies everything we typically assume about immortal, unchanging deities. Now, as a researcher, what immediately grabs your attention here is a massive deviation from the norm. Think about it. Typical Hindu deities are made of stone or metal, right? Materials meant to last for all eternity. But the primary idols in the Puri temple, Lord Jagannath, Balabhadra, Subhadra, and Sudarshan, they are carved completely out of wood. And because they're made of a natural, decaying material, these bodies simply cannot last forever. They actually have to periodically die. So how does that work? Well, the answer lies in a highly complex ceremony called Navakalebra. Translated literally, it means new embodiment. Depending on a very specific astrological alignment, specifically when the lunar calendar experiences 2 Ashada months, this massive event takes place every 12 to 19 years. The old deities are ceremoniously discarded and completely replaced with newly carved bodies. It's a profound philosophical statement, really. It shows that even the Supreme Being is bound by the cosmic rhythm of time and this endless cycle of death and rebirth.
Let's start breaking down the evidence in Section 1, the Wooden Gods of Puri.
When you actually examine these idols, their unique physical traits immediately stand out. They are carved from a very specific, sacred neem wood known as Daru Brahma. Now you'll notice they lack defined hands or feet, and they have these absolutely massive, unblinking eyes. And no, those aren't artistic mistakes. They are highly deliberate symbols. The incomplete limbs are meant to represent a formless cosmic energy, a divine infinity that just can't be boxed into normal human proportions. Those massive eyes? They represent a constant cosmic watchfulness, seeing all of creation without any bias. And that flat base is specifically designed to connect with the earth, acting almost like a battery to absorb and radiate spiritual energy.
Moving right along to Section 2, Hunting the Sacred Trees.
You know, you can't just run down to the local lumberyard to build these specific bodies. The investigators, in this case, a dedicated search party of temple priests, must hunt for the exact right material in a process called the Banajaga Yatra. And the criteria for Lord Jagannath's tree are astonishingly specific. It is literally like following a meticulous treasure map. Guided by dreams, they have to find a neem tree with dark bark and exactly 4 main branches. It must have natural physical impressions of a conch shell and a cosmic wheel right there on the trunk. It has to be growing near a graveyard, with an anthill and a snake hole right at its roots. Oh, and there must be a Shiva temple somewhere in the immediate vicinity. The odds of finding this exact combination in nature are just wild.
Once they actually find this impossible tree, the sacred wood is brought back to the temple. But the carving process happens entirely behind closed doors in a designated garden area, and it is so secretive that not even the temple's head priest is allowed to witness it. We're talking absolute lockdown. More than 50 master carpenters carve the wood over exactly 21 days. During this entire period, they don't eat, drink, or smoke inside the enclosure. They sleep out in the temple courtyard, completely isolated from the rest of the world, with nothing but the soft, continuous chanting of Vedic verses echoing just outside the doors.
Which brings us to the most mysterious part of all, Section 3, the Midnight Secret Ritual.
So this is the absolute climax of the rebirth process. Just 3 days before the massive public chariot festival begins, the newly carved idols are brought face to face with the old ones. This midnight ritual is called the Brahma Parivartana. It is the exact moment when the Brahma Padartha, which is basically the divine core material or the soul, is physically removed from the belly of the dying wooden body and placed directly into the new one. It's the literal, physical transfer of life.
And to make sure this remains a mystery, the measures they take are extreme, and I mean extreme. The entire city of Puri undergoes a strict, enforced power blackout, total darkness. The temple premises are completely cleared out of all regular staff. The doors are locked, and officials stand guard with actual swords. The select few priests chosen to perform the transfer have their senses completely neutralized. They are blindfolded securely, and their hands and feet are wrapped in thick layers of silk ribbon. This ensures they can't see anything, and they can't even feel the exact shape or texture of the core material they are moving. It's totally impenetrable.
You might be wondering, why go to such extreme lengths for secrecy? Well, historical accounts and deep temple lore suggest a pretty chilling rule. 1. That is the exact number of years a person allegedly has left to live if they dare to illicitly observe this midnight transfer. It's a terrifying testament to the sheer, raw power this Brahma Padartha is believed to hold.
Let's look at the case board in Section 4, Investigating the Core Material. As researchers impartially analyzing the sources, we obviously have to ask, what exactly is the Brahma Padartha? Historically, there are three main competing theories. First, drawing from the Odia Mahabharat, there's a claim that when Lord Krishna's mortal body was cremated, his heart inexplicably remained unburnt. It was allegedly set afloat in the sea and eventually reached the Puri coast to be enshrined. Theory 2 comes from Buddhist history, suggesting the core might actually be a tooth of Gautama Buddha, which was rescued from his funeral pyre and smuggled into the region. And finally, based on circumstantial evidence of everyday temple rituals, a lot of researchers believe it's actually a specific combination of sacred Shaligram stones wrapped with intricate gold plates that are inscribed with powerful spiritual sigils. We don't take sides here, but all three origins are incredibly fascinating.
But honestly, the most dramatic piece of testimony we have comes directly from those blindfolded priests. Remember, they're the only human beings who ever actually handle it. Even through all those thick silk ribbons wrapped around their hands, they consistently report that the core material inexplicably feels like it is pulsing, like it's actually moving. They describe the sensation as exactly like holding a live, squirming rabbit in your hands. Just incredible to think about.
Let's wrap up our findings in Section 5, the enduring enigma. So, what does this all mean? Beyond the physical mystery, there is a profound philosophical depth to this practice. The ritual very intentionally mirrors the human cycle of rebirth. Once that core is transferred, the old wooden bodies are considered completely lifeless. They are carried out in the dark and ceremoniously buried on top of each other in the temple's graveyard. Meanwhile, the new bodies, now alive and pulsing with the Brahma Padartha, are placed right back on the altar to resume their cosmic duties. It sends this incredibly humbling message: even the divine is subject to the relentless passage of time. The outer shell eventually perishes, but the soul simply moves on.
So, I will leave you with this final question to ponder. If even the gods must change their forms, what does the immortal core hidden inside them reveal about our own eternal journey? As investigators, we may never definitively know if that core is a relic of Krishna, a tooth of Buddha, or a sacred stone. And honestly, perhaps that is exactly the point. The true nature of the Brahma Padartha remains exactly where it belongs, in the dark, waiting for the next cycle. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.